Hi guys, good evening and welcome to the second part of my 30-day drawing video thingy. I do apologize for my 6 months long hiatus. I'll explain it in more detail later on what I've been doing for the past 6 months. So for now I want to get straight into what I will be doing in this video. There will be 3 sections. First will be day 15 to 30 of the challenge, which I assume you're here for. Since it's been a very long time since I did the drawings, I'll try my best to recall what I thought during the process, as well as my thoughts on them now. Then I'll talk about where I've been for the past half a year. If you want to hear why, you can skip to the timestamp I have in the description, or on the screen right now. And finally, as compensation for taking so long, I will be showcasing the artwork I've been doing since the end of the 30 days. Which I hope you will find enjoyable. So, let's continue on my journey through the remaining days. So for the normal version, the task was to draw an extruded box structure. I don't know what that means, so I just copied Mark's drawing. And then I made my own version, based on the Tiger one, because I fucking love tanks, holy shit! Then I had to draw another 15 poses. Can't keep doing this shit! But thanks to MARC BRUNET'S other tutorial, I am able to actually do some pretty good poses. The old ones from day 12 had very scratchy lines, and it shows that I was clearly not very confident with them. But here, I tried to use line of action, and I minimized the number of lines I used. And it not only looks a lot cleaner, but also a lot less stiff. The results were pretty hit or miss. This being the first time I followed the tutorial, so naturally the poses got better over time. The first part of day 16 was to draw 3 bowls. I think I did a pretty good job. The second part was to draw a character's body with a pose from day 15. And it didn't go so well. I redrew the pose 3 times, even though, looking back, I totally didn't have to. The scrap ones don't look half bad. Anyway, we were meant to draw the body only, but I added everything else because it's more fun that way. Alright, let's get the first part out of the way. It's just some cylinders tied up. 2 attempts were made, bada boom. For the character part, the task was to draw a portrait of a character from reference, with the hair of another character, and back when I did this challenge I found this really cute drawing of Sayori, so I picked it and added Anchovy's hair. Unfortunately I didn't bother finish shading it, I'm just lazy like that. Still, it looks pretty good. One of my favorite drawings of the challenge if I do say so myself. The first part of day 18 was to draw a totem made of different volumes, with 2 extruded cylinders. What? I made this evil guy based on the one Mark made, and a cavalry guy, just to make things more interesting. As for the character part, the task was to draw a gender swapped portrait using references. And
we are now just going so far backwards.
Because what the fuck is this? Every time I see this drawing, I want to kill myself. That said, if you ever feel bad about your own drawing skills, just remember, every artist has failed drawings that never see the light of day. So for the first part, create a complex box with various volumes extruded and carved in. I copied Mark's house, and then I made an attempt at this tiger tank thing, whatever that is. Definitely better than the last one. For the character part, we had to combine the upper and lower body of 2 different characters. First I made this, and it doesn't look very good to be honest. Then I realized we were meant to focus on the body and not the clothes, so I made the second one. Much better. So the first part is to draw a cup of coffee with marshmallows. I haven't seen anyone drink coffee with marshmallows before, but I don't drink coffee, so what do I know? For the character part, we had to draw 2 poses from references using 5 minutes each, and then we clean up the better one. I decided to copy a male pose this time, and it looks a lot better than what came before. Given the much longer 5-minute time limit, I sadly reverted to using overlapping lines. But of course, I chose to clean up the female pose in the end. After all, why wouldn't I? For the first part, the task was to draw boxes in 1-point perspective cut in half. Then, the second part is to dress up the cleaned up pose from day 20 using a favorite character design as reference. And just as Mark said in the video, it really is just a drawing of the character with more realistic proportions. So, we can quickly move on to the next one. The first task is to draw a sculpted volume in 1-point perspective. Almost looks like a few houses in perspective. For the character part, the task was copy a character pose, then dress it up with design elements from 3 other references. And I came up with this drawing. I'm not super proud of this. I could have definitely picked some much more interesting characters to copy from. But by this point, Girls in Panzer was the only anime I'd watched, so I did what I could with what I had. So the first task was to draw a street with buildings using shapes in 1-point perspective. This was easy enough, and thankfully I recall it being quite fun to do as well. As for the character part, the task was to draw a character from reference, using the pose from a different reference. And I'm not sure how, but I straight up didn't do day 23? I still don't know how it happened, but I did day 23 for the normal part, then skipped to day 24 for the character part. So I guess we're done here? First part of day 24 was to draw a chest in 2-point perspective. Actually, Mark drew 2 of them, so I did 2 as well. I must say, I did enjoy these perspective tasks quite a bit. Then, the character part was to draw a favorite character in a simple standing pose, from memory, and it's clear that by this point I had been very familiar with drawing Anchovy. This drawing looks great, although I don't know where this pose came from. It just appeared in my head at the time. The first task was to draw a building corner with a window or door in 2-point perspective. My building is slightly tilted, but who gives a fuck. As for the character part, I had to do another 15 poses. Are you kidding me right now fucking again? You know, I actually did pretty well on these poses. The proportions are off sometimes, but that's to be expected with gesture drawing. But like, these ones here, they're really good. I didn't do 15 of them, cause my ass lazy, but I'm pretty happy with what I did for the 9 poses. First task for this day was to draw a simple hand made out of cylinders and boxes. This was a pretty big challenge. Hands are never easy to draw, so I did my best and made this. It's a bit blocky, but it'll do. For the character part, the task was to draw a character's head from 5 different perspectives. So we have the front profile, then the 3/4 view, then here's a side view, then I found this one where she's looking up, and lastly this really cool drawing with her looking up. These all took quite some time, but they turned out great. The first task was to draw a maze in 2-point perspective. Not too bad, just again, very time consuming. For the character part, I had to draw a character head using features from 5 different sources. Here I needed to get creative since there's only so many features you can cram onto a head. According to the notes I left, the references are tail from Anchovy, bangs from Maho, the rest of the hair from Sayori, the tail position from Alice, and the hat from the Koromori Mine uniform. And the result is pretty cool. I was worried it was gonna look too much like one of their characters, but it ended up looking like a brand new character. First task was to draw 6 to 7 boxes rotated in perspective. After that, we had to draw the head from day 27 onto a body from imagination. And I have to say, after such a long hiatus involving not a lot of drawing bodies, I am very impressed by my anatomy skills 6 months ago. It's gonna be a while until I can get this familiar with drawing bodies again. The first part of day 29 was to draw a hand holding a long cylinder, and I took this photo of my hand as reference. I wasn't really happy with the first one, so I made a second version. Although looking back, they both look pretty good. For day 30, the task was to draw a simplified skull, and I thought it was gonna be really hard, but I locked in and made this beautiful drawing. I still can't believe how good it looks, and it's really motivating when you compare this to the literal sphere from day 1. As for the character part, the task was to dress up the day 28 character using elements from 5 different references. For this, I mashed up the uniforms of Ori and Koromori Mine, as well as Anchovy's uniform. Then I used Alice's dress for the lower half of the body, and some kind of uniform boots for the shoes. Yeah, I don't know. The 2 drawings are pretty good, the designs are just a bit boring. And the challenge would end here, but it feels anticlimactic to end on 2 of the same challenge. So I decided I would do 1 more drawing. For day 31, I decided I would draw the anchovy from day 1. So without further ado, here's the final drawing. And I think the results speak for themselves, although I still have a soft spot for the day 14 drawing. Everything is just a lot cleaner, and the lines are a lot more confident. And overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the improvements I've made, and I just want to thank you all for sticking around. And I hope you found this journey somewhat enjoyable. Alright, now that we're done, let's move on to... So the reason I've been gone for 6 months is, well, college. University starts next year, I have to do loads of studies, and I had a project that I needed to work on. So just overall a lot less time than I had before summer. Then I accidentally deleted a bunch of files, which forced me to redo the whole video, which really killed the motivation. But after my last mock exam, I finally had the time to lock in on making this video. So thank you for your patience, I really do appreciate it. I will probably never split a video into 2 parts like this again, and if I do, I'll make sure both parts are ready on release. Now, as I said at the start, I will be showcasing the artwork I've made over the past 6 months. But first, here's the redo of day 23. Which, if you remember, I forgot to do back then. Unfortunately, I haven't done a lot of anatomy recently, so I have become a bit rusty. Also, in 2023, I promised I would draw a muscular portrait of my cousin. I never did that, so I did it in summer of 2024. What a masterpiece. Now, let's go through my Procreate library full of unfinished drawings. I did think about not showing the bad ones, but it would make more sense if I did, just to show my progression. So here we are. Okay, so the first thing after a challenge I did was a bunch of doodles. I got into manga, Girls in Panzer Kindergarten, and the art style's really cute, so I really wanted to be able to doodle in that style. Unfortunately, I am not very good at doodling, which sounds crazy, but I'm just so used to constructing everything that just straight up doodling is difficult to me. And then after that, I decided I would redo the 30-day challenge because I'm bored, but this time I asked my friends to do it as well. And we did, and I was gonna do a video on that, but I never even got around to finish this one, so I guess we're not doing that. There are some good ones that I can show you. For example, the day 18 one, which has the gender swap, and it just looks miles better. There's also the day 17 one, which just looks very pretty. And last but not least, we have the day 31. I took elements from a lot more diverse references, and the character I designed is just a lot more interesting. So after that, I tried making a comic about crabs for some reason. I didn't even draw a crab yet, I just gave up so quickly on this one. After that, I tried to do one of these. I didn't get very far, so let's just move on. I made a Ruby logo for a commission a while back, and they asked me to animate it, and this took a very long time because animating in Procreate is miserable. The end result looks good at least, so I'm pretty happy with that. Tried to do this again, didn't get very far, so let's move on. Yeah, so I tried to make a poster with some Pravda characters. I thought it would look really cool, but back then I didn't know what a thumbnail sketch was, so I ended up just sketching 2 characters and I just gave up. And then after that, my friend Eric's sister Joy was gonna have her birthday, so I made a drawing of her as a present. I was worried about this one because the sketch was not looking good, but thank God it turned out pretty nice. Then there was a pretty long hiatus because of summer, but I did draw Maho and Erika in the mesmerizer pose. I tried to draw a sniper, but drawing guns and poses is quite hard. Made this line art of Anchovy. This was gonna be my next big piece that I was gonna color in and everything. But I finished the line art and decided I didn't really like it enough to color it in. Okay, we're moving on to things I actually kinda like. I realized I was really struggling to draw heads, so I did a few studies. Yeah, I made like a long list of things I need to do in order to draw the face, just in case I forget. And I am pretty happy with this drawing, which I did from reference. Just a few more random drawings, mostly from reference, because I was trying to study the head. This one was from reference. It looks really good, so I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, since I was bad at drawing heads, I decided I would follow MARC BRUNET'S 7-day drawing routine for drawing heads. I don't really want to talk about this, because I'm not very happy with it. So, let's move on. My friend told me to draw a tank on stream, so I did, and this was the result. I was worried it wouldn't turn out well, but it turned out alright. Just a bunch of drawing heads from references. This one at the bottom I didn't do from a reference though, and I just came up with it, and I liked it, so I decided to color it in. This was gonna be my next really good piece, and this was for Anchovy's birthday. I even did the line art and I colored it in a bit. Sadly, I didn't finish coloring. I do still really like the line art though, especially the hair. Now, I wasn't sure what parts I should focus on practicing, so I did some drawing from memory to use as a benchmark to see what I was weakest at. And clearly drawing the head was still an issue for me. This was a pose study, but I made a pretty nice looking sketch, so I decided to make a line art for it. Tried coloring it, didn't work out. This was for an art trade with my friend Ro. I was still trying to figure out how to streamline my coloring process, so I was just trying a bit of everything, like keeping all the colors on the same layer, blending and lighting on different layers, etc. It's pretty good, although I still have my characters in a white void. And this is the art I got in return. After that, I tried making fan art for Deco 27's monitoring, but I butchered the post so bad, I think we should just move on. And then, I saw this insane picture of an insane selfie, so I thought it would be crazy if I put monitoring Miku in there, because, you know, she's like a hallucination or something, so she could probably do that. And this was my first time doing a full background in actual years. This took way longer than it looks. Again, I haven't got my coloring method figured out yet, but you know, it's progress. At least it's not in a white void anymore. This one's a really good one. It's Yuko from the New Girls on Panzer OVA, and I got inspired by Race to the Sea by Sabaton at the time, so I wanted to draw her as a badass. Again, the coloring took a long time to figure out, but I'm slowly getting the hang of it. Still on the whiteboard though. This one was for a Christmas collab. Slowly I realized that the brush I use for my line art is quite bad for coloring. After that, I found this image of this guy just hanging out, and I feel like Kay would totally post something like that, so I drew her in the pose, and I really enjoyed this one. It didn't take too long to make, and by this time I was getting quite familiar with the coloring method I used. And then Hatsune Miku was going to get added to Fortnite, and she's blue, and guess who else is blue? Knee surgery! So I drew her in a knee surgery pose, and posted this the day before she was gonna get added. I tried a new method of shading, which uses a lot of layers, so it was painful, but actually this is preferred because it's easier to edit specific parts of the drawing. And guess what? I've been using this method of digital coloring since I started drawing digitally. I just changed it a while back because I thought it was wrong to do it this way. And that really taught me that there really isn't a right way of drawing. If you get to the result, then it works. My friend Duncan told me to draw a purple mechanical dragon. I wanted to make it quick, but it ended up taking 40 minutes. And it just looks really rough overall. After that, I basically did a series of head studies, like how you would in a normal sketchbook. There's actually a shitload of them. And then after that, MARC released a 30-day drawing schedule for drawing heads, so you know I had to do it. I'm not gonna show all of it, I'll show you the results though. I tried to follow MARC's style, and I really like that side view head in particular. Finally, we get to what I think is my greatest piece to date. I spent just under 8 hours on this, and I think I really outdid myself with the coloring and lighting. I don't usually do art light scenarios like this, so it was a great challenge. I used a ton of references for lighting on faces on Pinterest, and I think the only issue is I don't know a lot about color theory. I know shadows are usually not totally black, light is not totally white, etc. But if you zoom out, the colors are kinda clashing for your attention. Also, when you turn down the saturation, you can see the shadows are just not dark enough, and it's clear I still have a lot to learn in terms of color theory. Hopefully, I'll make even bigger improvements in 2025. And that concludes the trip through my gallery, and I hope you enjoyed it. As for this channel, I'm not planning to upload anything until my A-levels are over. Sorry to disappoint. You are welcome to stay subscribed though, because who knows what future me has in stock. Anyway, if you like the 7 months late sequel, do let me know with a like or dislike, I don't know. And see ya.